Hello there folks, my name is Spunks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was Plane, opening with $10 million domestically this weekend, and that total stays the same worldwide as it has not been released in any international countries as of yet. So I don't think we'll be discussing this for too long as, well, pretty much this movie met all of my expectations. The marketing wasn't the best and the buzz wasn't the best. It just seemed like a movie that would at the very least crack the top 5 but not leave such a big impact, you know what I mean? And the benefit here is the fact that the film was relatively cheap. It only costed $20 to $25 million, so at the very least it should surpass that milestone domestically, and maybe when it releases internationally, hopefully those boosted up to the doubling point, as again, this is not a very expensive movie, so it shouldn't be that hard to double this budget. But yeah, it's just gonna come and go. I don't expect it to be in the top 5 for much longer. It'll be interesting to see how word of mouth is. It did get a B+ on Cinema Score, so that'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. But yeah, not expecting much more out of this movie, for sure. Number 4 was A Man Called Otto, making $12 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $21 million and a worldwide total of $36 million. So A Man Called Otto continues to impress. It had a big boost from the previous weekend, of course being that this film finally expanded nationwide, but I was really impressed with how it was able to do. It's helping the movie out a ton. Apparently this film reached out to a much larger older demographic than what was expected, which I can kind of see why. Tom Hanks as the main star, and this definitely seems a bit more appealing to that demographic as opposed to a younger audience, and it's definitely putting the movie in the right direction as it's already made a good chunk of its $50 million budget back, both domestically and worldwide. It should surpass the $50 million milestone worldwide very soon, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it surpass it domestically either. The big question though is if it's going to double that. I'm not really sure about that though. I don't see this having the type of legs as something like Ticket to Paradise, for example. I feel like this is definitely going to fall in line with something like Lyle Lyle Crocodile or The Woman King. It gets very, very close, which, is still impressive. It still exceeded a lot of people's expectations, or maybe even best case scenario with Lyle Lyle Crocodile, which just recently doubled its $50 million budget worldwide. Maybe it gets there further down the road, but I'm not too sure if it will get there. I think it'll get very close, considering that it's pretty lackluster right now in terms of new movies appealing to audiences at the box office, so we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe this movie holds very well and does pull off what Ticket to Paradise did back in October. But as for everything going on right now with this movie, it's in the right direction, to say the least. Once again, it exceeded a lot of people's expectations, including mine, and I'm definitely interested to see how much farther it can go. So yeah, not bad at all. Number 3 was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, making $14 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $112 million and a worldwide total of $253 million. So this was an incredibly successful weekend for this movie in particular, as this was the second weekend where in its entire theatrical run where it was able to increase from its previous weekend, which is incredible to believe in. And the fact that shows that word of mouth is incredible with this movie. People are still going out to see it. Everyone's still talking about how great the movie is and encouraging others to go see it, and the movie is definitely reaping the rewards for it, as the film has now become the 3rd animated film from 2022 to surpass the $100 million milestone, as it sits behind Lightyear and Minions: The Rise of Gru. And given where it's at, I see no reason why it doesn't surpass Lightyear by the end of this week to become the 2nd highest grossing animated film of 2022 domestically. But the film was also able to cross that milestone worldwide, as it was able to surpass DC League of Super Pets, Lightyear, and The Bad Guys to become the 2nd highest grossing animated film of 2022 worldwide. It sits behind Minions' $939 million total. Definitely not going to get there, but hey, at the very least, the film was able to crack the second place spot. And also, given where it's at and the fact that the film has to be released in other countries such as the UK and Japan in February, I think it'll become the second animated film of the year to surpass 300 million worldwide, which again is a wonderful accomplishment. Yeah, overall, Puss in Boots is having a spectacular run at the box office. Something in particular to note here is that each consecutive week has been bigger than its opening weekend, which is outstanding, and it looks like it's going to continue growing and doing as amazing as it has been throughout the coming weeks, given that it's so good and there's no competition for it to face off against. It's really benefiting from a lot of wonderful factors, and it will continue to do well, until Mario in April. So yeah, Puss in Boots is still in a good spot right now, already more than doubled its $80 to $90 million budget, and it's still going strong. Good job, Puss in Boots. Let's see if you can go even further and higher from this point on, which seems very, very likely. Number 2 was Megan, making 18 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of 60 million and a worldwide total of 94 million dollars. That's right, folks. In just under a week, Megan is already just $6 million away from surpassing $100 million worldwide. And given where it's at, I wouldn't be surprised for it to already surpass it by the time this video comes out. So congratulations, I guess. But even in regards to the domestic totals, it's still doing very well, especially for a horror movie in its second weekend, but also B, a horror movie in January in its second weekend, as the film only had a drop-off of 40%, which is very solid. Word of mouth is definitely helping this movie out. Been hearing plenty of people talk about how wonderful this movie is and telling everybody to go see it, and audiences are still rushing to go see it. It's just doing very well, especially thanks to that cheap budget of $12 million. It's already quadrupled that, and from the looks of it, if it can continue to hold as well as it's been doing and word of mouth can push through, it can very well become the first movie of the year to surpass $100 million domestically, which I think is a safe bet, especially since when it still has roughly a month before Ant-Man dominates the box office, and how, once again, pretty slow and barren the box office looks to be for the next couple weeks. So it definitely has plenty of time. Let's just hope that the movie can continue to hold well and audiences will still continue to go see it, which I think it will. I think it will continue because, once again, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about this movie and encouraging others to go see it. So yeah, another very solid weekend for Megan, looking like it's going to very well become the first big hit of 2023. It continues to start the year off strong, and I look forward to seeing how much further it can go. So yeah, good job, Megan. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was, for the 5th week in a row, Avatar: The Way of Water, making 32 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of 571 million and a worldwide total of $1.9 billion. So folks, not only has this film become the highest grossing film of 2022 worldwide, but it has also become the biggest film to release in the post-theater closure era, as, yes folks, believe it or not, it was able to surpass Spider-Man No Way Home's entire theatrical worldwide run by just $6 million, believe it or not, which is absolutely incredible, or to say the least. I definitely wasn't expecting that, and from the looks of it, the film is definitely going to surpass the $2 billion worldwide milestone, becoming the first film of the post-theater closure era to do so, which again is absolutely outstanding. Just bravo, James Cameron. We certainly have learned our lesson to never doubt you. I'm sure we will be discussing this next week, but yeah, in all honesty, what a run, what a run for the ages. One for the books, really. Avatar is just dominating, obviously, continues to do well. Audiences still loving it. You can kind of tell that I'm just kind of running out of things to say here. It's pretty much made all the money it needed to and then some. And while we are certainly going to start seeing it slow down soon, I mean, it's at 30 million right now, and certainly we're going to see eventually what the first film to dethrone it is, for sure. It's not going to stay number one forever, but it's really, folks, this has just been such a juggernaut at the box office. I cannot believe it, and I don't know how anyone could look at these numbers and say, oh, well, it's a disappointment. Like, look at these numbers. Look how well it's been doing over the past couple weeks. It's been just completely dominating. So yeah, once again, another incredibly solid weekend for Avatar: The Way of Water. Fortunately, I'm running out of things to say about it, so hopefully continue to surpass a couple more milestones. It's not going to surpass the first Avatar. That just goes without question. There's no way it does that, but maybe a couple more here and there before we start to see it slow down a bit, so I can have some more things to say about it. But yeah, still, all honesty, what a run at the box office. Just a job well done. Bravo, Mr. James Cameron. You are truly a filmmaker for the ages, to say the least. Wow, just wow. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we only really have one new major wide release, that being Missing. Now, this is the, I won't call a sequel, but follow-up to the 2018 film Searching, if you remember that. But this is a movie about, where that was a movie about a father trying to find his daughter. This is about a daughter trying to find her mother, with the same sort of like on laptop camera type filmmaking technique, which is honestly really cool. Now, this is definitely an interesting one because I can see it both doing as well as my expectations, or maybe slightly, and I cannot put any more emphasis on that word, slightly exceed my expectations, because the marketing has been okay. They've been doing some creative things, like there's this little viral video going around where the main actress interrupts like your show or your social media feed with a video telling you to help her find her mother, and there's like a little phone number that you can text. That's kind of cool, but outside of that, it's really just been the basic marketing I've seen for it. The buzz isn't really there for this movie. I don't really see a whole lot of people talking about it, but reviews so far have been really positive. I've been hearing some good things about the movie. Critics seem to really like it. So yeah, a bit up and down here. There could be a chance for it to exceed expectations, but I feel like it could just really meet my expectations. It'll probably do fine. I don't think this movie really costed that much to make, so either way, it probably won't be a big failure, but I don't expect it to do anything special either. But we'll see how well this movie does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied? Unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.